Look at Slerf. Let me just delete all of this stuff. So what I'm looking at now on the weekly time frame with Slerf is not crazy bullish. This weekly candle, very different to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is bullish. This is not crazy bullish. Okay, Slerf is usually, like, when I'm seeing Slerf, I'm seeing Slerf lead. So it does make me wonder about Bitcoin when I'm not seeing what I need to see. Okay, I do like that we kind of have created the weekly level. When you're looking at the whole price action, this is the second time that we've created the weekly level. The first time it was here, and the price in that week, the price went down and it went up and then it went down. You see, it went up and then it went down. It's the second time we've created the weekly level. So for a brand new token, it's obviously something to bear in mind. We looking at the volume, the drop was quite low volume, and then we put in quite a lot of increasing volume on this green candle. And now obviously the week is closed. We're into the next week. Okay, I like this idea of a wick and then the price to close and then go down and then come back up. That gives me kind of good bottoming vibes, but I certainly don't think we're out of the woods yet. There's no reason to think that Slerf is out of the woods, even though I've kind of indicated that possibly there is a bottom forming here. It's hard to know exactly if this is going to be the bottom, because naturally, if this is the bottom, you want to see the price go up. Okay, and not only do we want to see the price to go up, we want to see the price to go up, and we're going to see an increase in volume as well. It's not enough for the price to go up. We now need to see an increase in volume, an injection of volume. We need the injection of volume to take the price up, because we want to clear trap liquidity to the upside. Yeah, and there's a lot of liquidity to the upside which is trapped, and there's no way that we're going to untrap it without an increase in volume to take the price up. Okay, so obviously this is the potential. We have the potential of a bottom here for many reasons, but let's just be very clear and very simple about the current price action. We have our range high here at the top. That's our range high. So let me just kind of put these levels back in. Can't remember where they are. Do I have to just redo it? Probably not. Volume levels. Time frame. And lines. Nope. Outer. Anchored. So I don't know if I've got it. Just break it down then. That's your range height. This is your range low at the moment, unless we put in a new low or new high. This is at the moment our current range. You can see that there's a little bit of a midpoint here, and so I've done this in the past. It's a fib pull from the top to the bottom, and you see the 50% mark of this fib pull. I'm using the log scale, is also acting as a perfect SR flip on the price. Yeah, so we are now in the bottom part of the range, and that's the top part of the range. At the moment, that's our range. Okay, as far as you want to consider range, that's it. And then there's no reason to complicate it when you're contemplating the range. The other range that we're in is a volume range. So you have the overall volume profile, which I've done. Yeah, volume levels. Okay, so on my what I've marked, let me just hide that for a second. What I've marked is the radian point of control. I'm not really that interested so much, but in the radian point of control, because it's so high up. But here you see the radian value area low is roughly around the same place as this range point of control. And then you've got a high volume node here, then the buy bit value area low. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of update that. I'm going to use a lower time frame to do that, just so I can get more of the current candles in the current range. Okay. And you can clearly see that there's no change on the point of control. You can see here that we're still into this high volume node. It's hard to see exactly where we are. It's probably, yeah, it's perfect. It's about there. And you can see that the value area low hasn't changed position. Value area high hasn't really changed. Okay. There's a radian value area low here as well. So just for the sake of consistency, I'm just going to quickly have a look on radian and just see if there's any changes there as well. I could probably do that on HTX. Generally speaking, HTX and Bybit are the same at the moment, but radian's a little bit different. So I'm just going to do it on radian. Just make sure the data is the correct data. Yep. Right. So you can see on radian the value area low is at. It's interesting. Is that a change? 0. Why don't I have those blue lines? Let me have a look. Is that it? Oh, it's developing. I want to developing. Don't know. Okay, whatever. I can't see how I can get those lines back. Never mind. So I can just kind of guess. It's at 0.3746. Let me make this a bit wider. I can see that. Thereabouts 0.7, just a kind of an area. 0.758. Point of control is all the way up at 0.8020. So this is really the area of interest, the level of interest at 0.3758. And then you have a high volume node here, which is at the. All right, so just let me just mark this 0.3. Oh god, it keeps on moving. 0.3758. Okay, just go back to there. Is it the same? No, you see it's moved down. You see that? So before it was there, and move it down 0.37. I'm going to mark that. The point of control is at basically. Do I have the point of control? Radian value area low. Leave that now. Where's the point of control? So the point of control has moved down slightly as well. Oh, I must have had it. I must have had the wrong figure. It's roughly about. Again, it's a slight area. It's not an exact figure. The value area low is right up there. High is right up there at 9400. Well, look, the fact that the value area low has moved down is actually a bullish development on radium, but it doesn't really make any difference, because all it tells you is that on radium there's going to be quite a strong resistance level as we come into that level and to come into that area. So you have to bear that in mind when we consider the price action and how the price is moving. Okay, this is the volume area for the overall range, and like I said before, I think the range is split into two ranges at the moment, and the dividing line is our 50% mark here. And so what you can also do is just do a volume pool on this lower range as well. You can do it from when it kind of crosses into the 50% mark, and that's what I would do. And while I'm kind of honed in on the overall range, I'm also kind of paying attention to this local range here. You can see what's happened here is that initially we had a little bit of a rejection here from the value area low. This is a rejection from the 236, and now the 236 is getting a little bit front run. So we're getting this, we're getting the price sold into as it goes up, but also what I'm seeing in the current price action is we're getting higher lows too. So what we're forming here is some sort of triangles forming here, which is quite easy to see. And effectively what's happening is the price is slowly becoming more and more constricted eventually for some kind of breakout, and we don't know which way the breakout's going to go. You would hope that it goes up, but you just don't know. When it comes to patterns, they can always break both ways. Yeah, some patterns have a higher chance of breaking to one direction. When you have like a equal triangle like this, it's pretty much 50-50, I think. And obviously holding the high volume node here as support is really important. So if we can just continue holding this high volume node as support, then potentially we could have another attack. If we can squeeze past that trend line, then maybe we can actually try to head to higher prices. That's kind of what I would want to see in this price action. I mean, the other thing that I was suggesting in my previous stream was the idea of really strong resistance, but honestly, the way the price is looking now, unless we get some kind of explosive move to the upside, I don't really see us getting to 0.418 thereabouts. At the moment I can't see it, just simply because I'm not seeing this, you know, I'm not seeing that kind of buying power. I'm seeing, relatively speaking, I'm seeing quite weak buying. Okay, I'm not seeing crazy strong buying right now. Yeah, so naturally what I'm seeing is a lack of follow through at the moment. Okay, I'm not seeing the FOMO type buying. Maybe it's accumulative, I don't know. Or maybe, you know, people are aware that Bitcoin is about to hit major resistance and they're not going crazy all in into this token. I don't know. I can't predict that. I don't know what's happening in that regard. But I do know that we've rejected of resistance. We're on top of this high volume node, which is also some sort of back test of this pivot. We lost it once. We came back to back test it. We lost it again. Maybe this is the back test. But even so, what's happening is we're just forming some kind of triangle here. That's what's happening. And we don't know which way it's going to break. I think I would have liked to have gone up. Just simply because I'm in a long. But, you know, we just have to wait and see what the price does. If we do, and this is the thing, yeah. If we do manage to go up and flip the value area low of this range, volume range, into support, then that's quite bullish, and it's possible we can head higher. And then also, obviously this level is going to act as resistance. Why is this level going to act as resistance? Well, because slightly higher, there's a daily level not too far away from the current from that level, so that's a little bit of an area of resistance. And then if I get I've got my fibs, and also potentially if there's some kind of swing failure of these pivots, then that could prove a good entry for shorts. So I think on Radium there is going to be a little bit of resistance, maybe not so much on Bybit, but on Radium for sure. Also earlier, slightly lower, there's another daily level that also has to be crossed. And again, there's no reason, like, I mean, while I think getting into the value area is a sign of strength and is bullish, so if we're able now to get back above this 236, flip it into support, flip that daily level into support. You know, there's quite a larger area of, there's quite an area of resistance here at the moment. And so it's going to require some strength to flip it into support. You see that strength? Then although I would target higher prices, you just always have to bear in mind that, you know, there are levels of resistance in between. Right now, these levels of resistance are resisting. Yeah. We were able to get through this level quite easily in the first instance because we had a bit of an impulsive move. But naturally, it came all the way back down to test and to test. So the price is not ignoring these levels. And while the price is not ignoring these levels, I'm not going to ignore these levels too. I'm going to consider them as strong levels that need to be flipped, right? So while I've got the imagine the price action just going through it, I'm not actually. And so right now Slerf is actually respecting certain levels, and we have to just see what happens. Okay, I can't see fast moves just yet. I did think it would be possible to have a fast move here, but we haven't even been able to get above these key resistance levels yet. And you see, every single time the price goes up, the price goes down, the price goes up, the price goes, you know, it's like, what's happening? It's not easy. It's not been easy. Okay. What else is there to bear in mind? Well, let me just delete all of that. We obviously, this weekly candle has printed a brand new weekly level. If you can see here that also corresponds with a daily level. So to the downside, I would like to think that this level is extremely strong because you have a weekly level and a daily level exactly on the same position. Yeah, exactly in the same place. See that? So I would like to think that that's really strong support. If the price is going to go back down there, I would like to think that support would at least react. I don't know what's going to happen to the price action. I don't know how far down or up we're going to go, but you see that level also corresponds with the golden pocket. Yeah. And so naturally, I think that is the level of support. Like, I think it would be very strange if we are forming some kind of triangle here to break down and lose that level. I think that would be very strange. I'd want to see a reaction at the very least to come back up. Doesn't necessarily make this bullish, but that's maybe what needs to happen. You know, like I can't, it's all about buying and selling. So if there's not enough buying here, then the price will obviously go down lower to find more buyers. Okay, that's just the way the price works. I think this is a really strong level to the downside. It's a big step down, you know, like from where we currently are. It's another like 8 or so, 9% down. But I think that's going to be a really good place to buy if people are interested to buy, and if we do get a dip down. But I actually think just as long as we can hold this pivot, which is the high volume node as support, then I'm not going to be bearish at all. I'm not going to think bearish. Obviously, you see this daily level that I have here. So let me have a look at the daily time frame. Let me just have a look at these daily candles. So that daily level, we've been trading through it so many times now that potentially it's irrelevant. Yeah. And obviously this higher one, it's not a fresh daily level. It's been traded through. So I'm just going to mark it as a washed one. Yeah, I'll have it, but I'll just keep it washed. This one is washed before, but you see here there's a brand new one that was tapped. I'll just kind of bring my level to this one here now. Even though that one was back tested, I'll just keep an eye on this lower one. Okay, because this was tested as well. That's washed as well. And then obviously we have to see how today's candle forms. There's a fresh, again, this one you see, that one, that is actually a washed one. So I'm just going to rename that to washed. Washed just means it's been traded through at least once after the level's been formed. And this one is a fresh daily level, so it's never been traded through. And so naturally the ones which aren't traded through will offer the most support and resistance. So looking at these levels now, you see we have a has that been traded through already? Let's just see. Did I make a mistake? This line is in the way. Let me just get rid of that. Oh yeah, so you see that we've already gone into the daily level. So you see we've already had a reaction from the daily level that was created from the candles formed on Saturday and Sunday. It's formed this daily level, and the price has gone up, and we've already found a reaction. It's already been a little bit of a sell-off into that level. So these levels are not being ignored. They're all being respected when they're formed. And so I just want you to bear in mind. So this one now, I'm going to leave it as daily because it was today, but actually what's happened is the price came up into the daily level and it's come right back down. You see that? So right now you can argue that potentially that level now has to be flipped into support. You see this previous wash level, there's a reaction on it, but the more and more these levels get traded through, the less and less relevant they become. So potentially what I'm thinking is this one here is becoming more irrelevant, you know. So potentially I'm thinking to myself of just getting rid of it, okay, and you just have that fresh one there. Maybe the next time the price comes up, the price is going to react to that one. And then lower down we have this high volume node, which is the previous pivot here, which is offering us support, and we're getting higher lows. So right now we're getting higher lows, higher highs. Eventually this is going to break out. Who knows? No one really knows which way it's going to break out. It's a coin flip, literally. I think this is a coin flip. I'm more inclined to think up, just simply because of Bitcoin and how bullish I am on Bitcoin. Maybe Bitcoin's going to go up, and maybe we're going to have a little bit breakout. But even if you were to complete this a measured move, or at least 50% of this measured move, I don't necessarily think, even if we were to come and break out and start pumping, maybe that would be your destination. Maybe that would be your target. It would make sense, wouldn't it? Like, you wouldn't expect it to go more. And then also you're coming back into this previous range. Maybe this previous range is going to act as resistance. It's hard to know exactly where, because you could always, the price could always be front run and come into the value area low as this goes up, and all it ends up doing is to swing failure this pivot just to head right back down. You have to bear in mind that right now we're not getting the crazy mad bullishness that we need to see higher prices. And right now the reason, you know, as time passes, the longer we fail to go up, the more the downward momentum is going to be progressing to the downside. Yeah, it's just a fact of the way the markets are. So if I was to go like right now to the daily time frame and have another look, yeah, and put my moving average there, you see in the 50 daily moving average, you see it's never been tested, and look how steep it is. That's the 50-day moving average, simple moving average, very, very simple to see that we have downward momentum. So while I'm in my mind, I'm thinking this area is like off the charts resistance, It's the most amazing resistance right now. If the price was suddenly if you just wake up and the price was there, you could sell and not even think about it. Yeah, because there's really great resistance there. Weekly level, range, point of control, daily level, 382, it's all in the same area. You got this order block here as well, this the beginning of the sell order block on the daily time frame. But I'm not even thinking that we're going to get that far, unfortunately, because I can still see that the momentum is to the downside, and that kind of crazy mad buying hasn't begun yet. We're still not experiencing that yet. Okay, it doesn't mean I'm bearish, because I'm still in a long, yeah. And I'm certainly not shorting right now. I'm not shorting because I'm still thinking that Bitcoin wants to go up, and I want to see Slerf go up. But I am also thinking to myself that even though I would love for Slerf to get to my higher target, and possibly thinking maybe it won't. Okay, and now I'm looking at lower areas of interest to potentially sell, short, close my position. I don't know, hedge, you know, like I'm still thinking about it. And so you see here, you've got the 12-hour 50 moving average. Well, whereas in the past, the price was able to go up and it just came back down. You know, you see the momentum is to the downside. Okay, and so what you need to do, the price needs to flatten out the momentum. It needs to take the pressure from the down move out of the move. Okay, so you see here on the 4-hour time frame, the 50 is flat, we're above it. Okay, so there's no real downward momentum on the 4-hour time frame. The other thing that we haven't done yet is change the market structure for the 4-hour time frame to bullish. And so obviously taking out that pivot is pivotal to achieving that. We haven't done that yet. So right now we've gone from a lower low. Where was the lower low? Lower high, lower low, higher high. That's it. So we haven't actually put in a higher high to confirm a bullish change. And so that's also quite interesting, because I'm just trying to think to myself, well, why not? Are the bulls not in control? You know, what's happening? And so potentially here, what's forming is some kind of constriction of price action, and eventually it's going to lead to some kind of push. Now, just looking at it, you know, this could push up and this could push down. Okay, and so right now, looking at it, possibly this down here would be a good long. Possibly, if we get a reaction, you have to wait for the reaction, because you know, with Slerf, you could just do that. You never know. That would be quite good, a good place. And to the downside, you're basically in reverse. You know, and right now we just have to see which way the price can break. I don't really know exactly where. I'd be thinking some kind of measured move on this breakout. I'd have to see where the price, I want to see if the price can get back into that volume range or not. If I suddenly see the price reacting and it's struggling to get into that volume range. See here, it's a little bit wider, and so actually the daily level is probably where you want to look for resistance. Like, even though you might get a little bit of resistance earlier on, maybe actually this daily level, because if I widen this range a little bit, the point of control is actually nicely sitting on the daily level. So maybe that's going to be a better area for entry. And if people aren't sure, then maybe a swing failure of this pivot will be confirmation of that. You just have to bear in mind that the minute you go up, you have reclaimed previous resistance into support. So in order to go back down, you have to flip support back into resistance. So just because I've marked it, the price is going down, there's no reason to think that if the price was to go up there, the price can't just find support here to continue going up, you know. So that's the thing. You've just changed. If we were to go up there, bullish market structure confirmed, 4-hour time frame. So naturally, people will be looking to buy the higher low into support for continuation. That's just the way it works. Okay, and so it wouldn't be, while it would be easy to take a hedge or short into resistance, yeah, it's a lot harder to try and do something about a position if you suddenly see the price falling into support and then losing support. It's a lot harder to do that, because you still need an invalidation. It's a lot easier with that kind of invalidation, because you're at the extent of some kind of move into resistance, yeah. Whereas it's a lot harder when you've already pulled back given back a certain percent of the price. So just bear that in mind. And I really think as time passes and we don't go anywhere, then the harder this is going to be to go up. Okay, and obviously Bitcoin has everything to do with what's happening, and so I want to see how Bitcoin behaves as well. While I think Slerf on the most part leads because it's a reflection of market sentiment. I'm not seeing crazy bullishness the way I want to see it. I'm not seeing it yet. Okay, doesn't mean I'm going to short. It just means that I want to see that craziness. I want to see craziness, and I'm not seeing it. Okay, now I don't know if that's because of people interested in other things, or maybe Slerf is off the radar. Generally speaking, when a new coin or like a meme or something is off the radar, it's probably a good time to accumulate. So any of this kind of price range is a good accumulation range. I see all of this as a good accumulation range. You may want to wait until the momentum is gone, or you can just dollar cost averaging in, or I don't know. I mean, like, people have different strategies for accumulation, and for all intents and purposes, none of them is wrong. So I'm just going to chuck this into a group. And we have our kind of liquidity levels. I don't mind that we've had a reaction from the daily level. I don't mind that at all. That's normal. I think it'd be very strange for today's candle to close lower or red. I think it'd be very strange for that to happen. And for all intents and purposes, if we are to suddenly close lower than the previous day low, that would be really bearish. I think that would be very bearish. Like if today's daily candle closed there, underneath the previous day low, underneath this previous daily level, that would be really, really bearish. And so if that happens, yeah, you'd have to react. You couldn't just ignore that. Yeah, you'd then be thinking to yourself, wow, maybe we're going lower. Yeah. And so while I'm not seeing it just yet, I mean, people are probably looking at this and going, look at this head and shoulders pattern. It's not that, it's not correct, because the left shoulder is bigger than the head, and the right, you know, like, this is not a head and shoulders pattern. It's not a rounding curve. This is what I told you it was. It's just a triangle, right? And so while for some people it might look like some kind of, you know, the people are looking at, oh my god, this is bearish, it's going to zero. I think what you want to see is this and this, you know, that's what you want to see. Or maybe this and right back down, you know, like, you want to see something like that. Yeah. And naturally, if you suddenly go down and put in a low here, that would kind of, in a sense, that would invalidate this idea. And if you have, you know, so therefore, where would be a good place to short? Well, if we kind of swing failure this low and come back up, then probably that high volume node would be a good place to short. And so on Saturday, I wasn't bearish, but I did kind of identify, if you look at my video, I identified this kind of trend line. I just did it by hand like that. And oh god, if I can draw now, I can't draw. It's because my arm is all up in the wrong position, like that. I kind of drew that out when the price was here on Saturday, sometime at about 11 or 12. It's somewhere up there. And I said, you know, like, we don't really, like, this was looking a little bit like a flat top. I said, you know, we really need to go up and break. That's what I was hoping for, expecting. We didn't get that. We broke down, but look what happens. The price comes all the way back up to the broken trend line. It comes up once, and then the second and the third time it takes out the liquidity of those previous pivots. It still can't get above that trend line. It still can't get above the invalidation, the real invalidation, which is that pivot, and the price goes down. Yeah. So when you have these trend lines that are broken and the price does come back to retest, then you have a very easy invalidation. Now, what I've kind of drawn it roughly, but you know, if you want to draw it a little bit better, you can kind of line it up. Effectively, that's a continued sign of weakness. And then if the price was to go right back up into the pattern, you have a little deviation from the lows back above that trend line. Well, that would be a sign of strength, you know. So that's the difference. Get back above the high volume. You see, in that circumstance, let me just draw that out. Yeah, so trend line is kind of, it's thereabouts there. Let me draw this one as well, just for consistency. Got that. There it is. I like to take the last pivot you know, I don't, even though it kind of, I like to take the outer lines, you know, like this one could be a little bit outer. I like to kind of have it as wide as possible. And you see here, if you got that reaction from these lows here, swing failure, buy up back above the daily level and right back up into the pattern, that's bullish. Yeah, I think the confirmation in that scenario would be that high volume node. Yeah, if you lose it and you lose the trend line, go down, you want to reclaim the trend line at the high volume node. If you don't, if you start seeing resistors, see, that's where people potentially short for or cover. You know, it's again it's a struggle because people are like thinking, should I take profit now? Is it going up? Is it now? You don't know. Now we don't know. Yeah, but if you lose a level and then come back to back test it, then the probability is continuation. You see, so you're effectively trading probabilities. So you're looking for high probability setups for entries and exits. That's what you're looking for when you're trying to kind of plan a take profit or plan a trade. Yeah, you're looking for the highest probability setup. So what's the probability now that the price is going to go down or up? It's probably 50-50. Probably 50. It's because you're kind of halfway into this pattern, right at the midpoint roughly, maybe up actually, because we're just above a high volume node, but maybe it has to go down to the high volume node to go up. You know, like that's the thing. This is more of a gamble, but if you get into a situation like this, you're coming up into resistance or a flipped resistance level, then you have a higher probability for down to continuation, you know. And it's the same as if we break up, like there's no difference. If we now the price kind of just breaks up, you know, then you have a high probability for continuation to the upside. If now suddenly the price goes bam, then you have a good setup for continuation to the upside until you hit your higher resistance targets. I think it's possible, like just looking at this pattern, that really a really good place to kind of hedge or short will possibly be about 0.3422 if we can get there. That's the next daily level, without doing too much extra analysis. Kind of corresponds with the 786 of this retracement from that pivot to this pivot. I like the 786. Sometimes I prefer the 786 to the golden pocket, to be honest with you, just because, especially when you have confluence. All right, so that's kind of Slerf. Am I bullish? Am I bearish? Right now, I'm a little bit neutral. I'm neutral, whereas maybe previously in last week I was really bullish. And why was I bullish? Because we're in the lows. Like really at the lows, you get bullish because you're looking for a reversal to go up. Now that we've come up a bit, and I'm seeing the current priced action, and I'm not either liking it or disliking it. I'm just thinking it's hard. It's almost impossible to tell. Excuse me. Yeah, and that's why. So I just want to see what happens and keep an eye on it. I think if people are in profit, it's a good idea to take a little bit of profit. Yeah, I've taken a little bit of profit because I'm not sure. And if the price goes up and I see the price struggle to go up, I'll probably take a little bit more profit because I'm just not sure. I'm just like, when you come into or hedge, or it doesn't really matter, do something. If you're not sure, don't just sit on large profits without not taking profit. While people are thinking, oh, I could have taken profit much higher, the reality is we're about 50% of this retracement, you know, so you're only getting it 50% lower. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. You know, you don't lose much. You gained more information. So when people are contemplating, oh, I could have got the high, well, you traded the difference in profit, wherever that was, to here, for all of this extra information. That was the trade. You traded the profit for information. Okay, while you could have easily taken profit at that high and you wouldn't be worried about it now, no one really knows what would have happened. It could have kept on going. You know, no one really knows. So that's instead what you did was you were willing to hold, but now you've got more information. Now you can make better decisions about what you're going to do. I'm not here to give financial advice. These are the levels of interest. These are the levels of liquidity that I have in mind. And I think the price is respecting these levels. So it's definitely worthwhile incorporating these areas into your trading strategies. The biggest one is obviously going to be right up there. But honestly, right now, I can't see us getting there unless somehow we get an explosion. We need an explosion, and I think that's going to happen when Bitcoin if Bitcoin is able, that's kind of what we want to see. Just rally into my, but that's what I want to see. Then I'd want to see that kind of price action. Yeah, and I'm not seeing it right now. I would love that. I would love that. 1, 2, 3, and then the other thing that I was kind of imagining with this token was the potential for some sort of Elliott wave move. So I've been contemplating that too. Let me just update, kind of sort this out a little bit. Put that there, behind that. Volume level's gone. What are these ones? I can't remember. Oh, that was the range high, range low. That's fine. That's the retracement. And this one is that. Get rid of that. That's fine. All right. So I was also kind of contemplating Elliott waves. All right. So I was. This is kind of my original idea. Okay. However, I want to see an impulse, you know, like it's pointless. It's pointless imagining something. If you don't see it, then maybe we're not in that, you know, like I just, if I don't see impulse, then I'm not interested, you know, like I can't. And we haven't even cleared the first area of resistance. And that's kind of what gets me. Like, if you can't even get above the 236, then that's already there's weak. I'm seeing weakness. You know, that's quite weak. Yeah, that's the problem. I'm seeing weakness in that in not being able to get back above it. And ideally, what I would have loved to have happened is to get back above the 38236 and push up to the next one, which is the 382. I think that would be strength, and this whole thing will start to look a little bit more bullish, and it would give people an opportunity to start putting limit orders to buy the pullbacks. So unless we see an explosive move, then this whole Elliott wave idea is not correct. Okay, just not correct. You want to see an impulse. So when I'm looking at how the price impulsed here, and while I didn't count 5 waves there, I'm just assuming that there are. Maybe there aren't. You know, maybe none of this is impulsive. Maybe none of this is Elliott waves, and we're just still consolidating and coiling up for some kind of move in the future. And that's also something which I'm bearing in mind. So while here right now I've got this imagination, maybe it hasn't even begun. You know, maybe this is just all some kind of accumulative higher time frame price action, and maybe in the future when the price finally kind of flattens out the momentum, and maybe when Bitcoin finally finds real strength, then this can explode. No. The other thing you have to bear in mind is that I don't think Bitcoin dominance is topped out yet, and so that's the other factor that I'm keeping an eye on. And so while I haven't seen that yet, I do have in the back of my mind the idea that that it's always possible for us to go down. Yeah, I can't see it right now because I see that we're making some kind of higher lows, lower highs. Yeah, and so while we're forming that kind of idea, I'm not going to be bearish or bullish. I'm just going to be quite neutral, probably more bullish than bearish, just simply because we are overall in the lows, and that's why I'm still in my long. But I'm not going to hesitate to shut my long, close my long if I start seeing weakness. Okay, so if I see this pattern break to the start breaking to the downside I will cut my longs, and I'll probably look to short as well. Okay, and that will just take me into my lower area of interest, which will probably take me back to my current position where I am or just above it. But the reason why I wouldn't necessarily hold a long if the price started to drop is because when the price starts to drop, you know, the price can really drop. You know, you always have to be like, just because you find a really good place in the charts for the price to find support, yeah, this one, it's a weekly level which matches up with this fib trade 6 golden pocket. Just because the price, that's a really good place to long because the price can find support there. Something you have to bear in mind is that when crypto sells off, it really sells off. Yeah. So, excuse me. If I suddenly see this triangle break to the downside, even though I think it would be nice to get some kind of excuse me, sorry, I'm coughing, some kind of pullback back test to go down. Don't know. No one really knows. What if it just goes down? Yeah, no one really knows. Yeah, and then if it does go down, what if it just goes down, like it just continues to go down, and actually what it really wants to do is take out the liquidity from the lows, because we haven't done that yet, and to come all the way down to this daily level. So while I'm bullish, I'm just basically right now in the current price action, I'm quite neutral. And if I start seeing a breakdown of this lower trend line, which I've indicated, then I'm going to look to take action, or maybe earlier. I don't know. I've got to have a look at whether there's signs of strength or weakness. For me right now, losing this lower trend line is a sign of weakness. I don't really want to see it, and breaking that top trend line is a sign of strength. I still want to see a back test, and I still want to see a higher high. Yeah, so even though you break a trend line, just be aware that the price would always fall back into the pattern. If we do break to the upside like this, and then we fall back into the pattern, that's really bearish. Yeah, that's not bullish at all. That's really bearish. And it's the same thing. If we break down to the downside and come right back up into the pattern, that's really bullish. Yeah, that's not bearish at all. That's bullish. So it's a developing situation, and the price dictates. The price tells you how the price moves, and where the price finds support and resistance will dictate whether it's bullish or bearish. And you just have to be aware of what could happen and what happens and when it happens, if it's bullish or bearish, if you want to trade it. Something else that I've noticed about the price, and I just wanted to kind of indicate this. I like to kind of, I see patterns, you know, like I see that a lot, and I like to kind of investigate new ideas of places to enter. I do look at the on Slerf. I look at the 5-minute chart a lot. Okay, it's not actually easy to fill a big position on Slerf. I don't know if people are aware of that. Like, if I want to fill a market fill 50,000 Slerf or 100,000 Slerf, I do move. You end up moving the price quite a lot. Yeah, it's not very easy to fill without moving the price, because you have to do market orders. There's not enough buying and selling at the current price to just place a limit order at the current price and fill it immediately. I can see that the volume has dropped quite significantly, and so what I've noticed is that sometimes you get these on these 5-minute time frame candles, you get like high volume candles and they reverse. Yeah, so just be aware of that. You see here and I'm looking at the Bybit perpetual contract. You see you've got this 5-minute candle with this high volume, and then you see the price reverses. This one is slightly different, high volume, but the price does go down. You see it does go down. And so sometimes I see like the price, you get these, suddenly you get these high volume Slerf, you get these high volume candles. Why are you seeing high volume candles like this? Well, it's because someone has market sold in this 5-minute red candle. That's 459,000 Slerf sold at market. Yeah, it's quite high volume. What I notice is that after you get these high volume candles, the price reverses. Yeah, not always. You see this is another one. This is like a 838,000 Slerf. This one, the price didn't reverse. Okay, it did eventually, but it was a weak reversal, so it's not 100%. But you see here, this is a green candle, increasing volume, and look what happens to the price. It goes down. Now I'm just talking about entries, and so what I've been doing is I've been looking at, because every token, every chart is different. There's nothing the same. Behavior is different, and so obviously I'm looking for where is a good place to enter, and then I was kind of analyzing yesterday's price action and thinking to myself, well, there was a swing failure there. It would have been good to enter that. In fact, I did. But I was just thinking, is there anything that can indicate a good entry if you're looking at swing failure? And then I'm seeing here, look at the volume. See that? That volume? So you get quite high volume into something like that, swing failure. And then the volume the volume gets reversed, but also this is also a swing failure too. So you have two things happening at the same time. Kind of gives you a little bit of confluence. Same thing's happening here. I don't know if you can see it. You have another idea of this kind of swing failure idea, and you see the red volume candles, and see what happens immediately after all of that volume comes in. That's people market selling, and then you see how the price reverses. Yeah, so this is something to bear in mind. It's not 100%, but I am seeing that a lot. So now that's changing my trading style, because whereas on Bitcoin I might just market sell and not think about it, on Slerf you almost can't market sell. Yeah, because immediately you market sell, and there's a chance that the price can suddenly come right back up. Yeah, it's not as easy as one can imagine. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at Slerf. I think the biggest indicator right now, the biggest thing to track is this triangle. Okay, and obviously if it breaks, then it breaks. You know, if we then coming back above that high volume node would be a sign of strength. Or if you can't get, like right now we're coming into this high volume node. See that? So you wouldn't short here. Yeah, it's not good. But even though the price can go down, it wouldn't be a place to short. If anything, this is where people are thinking about longing. You know? If anything, that's where people are thinking of longing. And we just have to see how the price behaves. Right. That's basically Slerf right now. Oh, okay. So David is saying that Wednesday 7 p.m. is FOMC minutes. Thursday 1:30 unemployed claims news usually brings volatility. Okay. Is Slerf leading Bitcoin still? I'm not sure actually. You know, I like to think yes, but I've been kind of analyzing them side by side. David says yes. I like to think yes, but then you need to develop some kind of trading strategy to utilize that idea. I think last night it was, and so last night, let me show you. Here it is. You see here, Bitcoin is dropping. This is the 30-minute time frame. Let me look at the 15-minute. Actually, let's just go to the 5-minute. You see here, Bitcoin is dropping. What's happening to Slerf? Actually, if you go to the 15 minute, it'll be easier to see. Look, this is Bitcoin on the right. Look at Bitcoin dropping like as though there's no tomorrow. It's going to zero. Look, see? Scary, right? And look at Slerf. It's just kind of going sideways. So, and then what happens? Bitcoin actually found the bottom here. And the price went up. And look at Slerf, it went up too. So in this sense, you could easily say that Slerf was leading. It was easy to see. That's actually why I longed. Okay, so today, look at today, we're in these highs. It's looking quite bullish. Bitcoin is dropping. Bitcoin comes back up, and look, as Bitcoin comes back up, bam, Slerf is dropping. See that? And so Slerf is dropping, Bitcoin is dropping, going up, but actually Bitcoin is only going up to come back down. So actually Slerf is leading. You see that? Slerf, by going down, even though when Bitcoin was going up, was indicating that it was down. So what you're seeing is Bitcoin has a slightly delayed action on Slerf by potentially 15, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It isn't candle by candle. Focus on strength and weakness. If you see Bitcoin weak, if Slerf isn't looking weak, then that's a sign that Bitcoin is coming to the bottom. If you're seeing Bitcoin strong, showing strength, but Slerf isn't showing strength, then that means potentially that Bitcoin is at the top. Okay, so that's the idea that I'm contemplating at the moment, and so far so good. You see now, nothing. They're just basically following each other. You see the candles are very similar to each other. The Slerf is reacting off the high volume node, and Bitcoin, I have no idea why it's reacting, but they're kind of literally following each other. So there is some kind of similarity and synergy between Slerf and Bitcoin. While the Slerf might be forming some kind of equal triangle, let me put it back in, something like that. I'm just trying to compare that with Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin doing something? This is the high that was put in there. What's the previous high? It was that one. No, that one, no. And then that one. Nope. And then that one. So actually, no. You see, Bitcoin's pivots are very different. See? So this is the first pivot with Slerf. Bitcoin was down here. Maybe here. The second pivot on Slerf. So it's all the way up to there. And the third pivot, we just put it in there. So while Bitcoin has gone like that, Slerf has just gone like that. Okay. And then let's do the lows again. So this is the first low, and then the second low. Here. So basically the lows are like that. So both of them are making higher lows. It's just the highs are a bit weird. On Bitcoin, it's very bizarre, and then the Slerf is just making a very steady lower low, lower high, a higher low, lower high, etc. Slerf is looking a little bit weak right now. Yeah, a little bit weak. Yeah, just bear that in mind. That's probably going to reflect on Bitcoin. Yeah, and then what we need is Slerf to find support, and then if Bitcoin is dropping and Slerf is finding support, then that gives you the kind of idea that maybe Bitcoin is looking to bottom out. So Slerf is giving you that clue about Bitcoin before Bitcoin actually does what it wants to do. So I've been using this with David to find good entries, and potentially it could be quite a lucrative signal if people are able to utilize that trading idea. If you do that and it's working for you, don't forget I told you. Don't forget the person who told you. Come back and tell me, let me know how it's working. All right, that's Slerf. Don't really have any other news. I do think that there's a lot of bullish things happening this week. I'm not sure. I think it's got to do with the liquidity pool refund. Let me just have a look if there's any updates on Slerf. I'll quickly have a look on the Twitter as well. See what's happening on the Twitter. If anyone doesn't know, I've got a Slerf playlist now on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to put all my Slerf streams into the same area. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, but I'm a maxi bull when it comes to Slerf. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to be bearish if the price action is bearish. You know, like I'm going to kind of give the levels. And David is asking me about the tweet. Yeah. So I'm very, like, I'm Slerf Soul did me a favor and he told people to follow me. So I really appreciate that if anyone has followed me. I don't know when he did it though now. I can't remember. I have to look on my tweets. I'd have to go all the way down now, David. I should almost frame that tweet. I should almost turn that tweet into an NFT. Let me have a look. I don't know where it is now. Oh, there it is. He wrote, follow this man right now. I really appreciate that. So everyone should take his advice. And so I'm really bullish on this. But I think I'm seeing a lot of things that are happening, and we just have to see what happens. I can't see any recent information on the final refund. I think it's meant to happen. What is this? May the 16th. Meeting with OKX earlier. Final mint date will be announced next week. So that's what we're expecting this week. The final mint date of the NFTs. 1 week to perfect smart contract and integrate with OKX. 1 week to finish front-end development on OKX Marketplace. 2 weeks for the go-to to market strategy. So we're talking about 4 weeks, right? Aiming to mint. So there's, you know, so potentially, I mean, I would love to go up. And the reason why I want to go up is because if we go up, we can flatten out this momentum. But you know, that's why I really want to go up. But while I would love for the bottom to be in, no one can really 100% know if and when the bottom is in. And naturally, the only way to know if the bottom is in, the only real way to know the bottom is in, is when we actually make an all-time high. Unfortunately, that's the only real way to know. But getting above the point of control would be the biggest sign of strength to confirming or to validating the idea that the bottom is in. And so we're nowhere near there right now, and we need to see an increase in volume. We need to see increasing demand to push us through that real major area of resistance at about 0.415 thereabouts scenario. So let's see, this is almost like 96.8% wallets refunded. It'd be good to see when that happens, and definitely excited to see what happens with this project. That is Slerf. Any questions on Slerf? There's probably, Gary's usually here, but he's not here today, so he's probably asleep. If we take out 533, then the bottom's in. That's what David is saying. That high there, yeah, that's true. So David makes a really important observation, and I think it's important to iterate it or reiterate his observation. So right now, when you're looking at Slerf market structure, on the daily time frame, this was the lower low, this is the lower high, lower low, and I don't know. I don't agree with that, actually, David. I'm just looking at it now. It's not correct. That's not correct. According to this, that's the lower high. Because we didn't take out the low here. See that? We didn't take out the low. That was your lower high. You take it from the beginning, not from Bybit. I'll have to look at HTX too. Maybe HTX is different. That was your high. Low. Right. But effectively you went from there. Maybe not even there. Maybe actually it just went all the way from the top to bottom in one move. Top to bottom in one move. See? High, low, low. And all of these lows and highs are on the lower time frames. So maybe it's better to go to something like a 12-hour. Just trying to look at this and see. I think HTX has slightly different information. Maybe it's better to see it on HTX. I don't know. Let me just expand that as well. No change. So let's get rid of that. So you see on HTX you had a launch price, high. We didn't actually go underneath the launch price on HTX. So I think the daily time frame is still indecision. Yeah. And so therefore possibly we might want to kind of have a look at the slightly lower time frames to see what's going on. High, low, high. Low, low, high. Low, high. Low, low, high, low, high, low, high. Low, high. Low. High, low, high. Low, high. Low, high, low. High. High, low, high. Low, high, low. Low, high, low. Low, high, low. Low, high. No. Low. High. I just think we have to take that pivot out. We confirm a 4-hour market structure change. That's really it. If bulls want something to do, they're bored. Take the price of Slerf up to 0.3292. I'm not sure about the higher time frames because of the way this kind of started. See on here, you didn't actually put in a lower low. So in effect, we've gone from the high. If you look at the daily, you've gone from that high all the way down to this low in one go. See that? Just in one go. Let's have a look at this link. David's showing me a link. I'm just gonna put it on my screen. See that? You want me to have a look at it on Dex on this. Let's have a look there. Actually, you make a good point. Let's get rid of that now. Well, this launched at 2 cents. So there's your high. And then what? I mean, according to this chart, that would be a lower low right there. So at the moment, you're just trying to put in a lower low, a higher low. Right now, we're just trying to put in a higher low. We won't know when the higher low is in until we go up and take that out. I don't think. On the daily time frame. Let me see. Unless you just ignore that. Let's just ignore that first candle. then you're right. If you ignore that first launch candle, then you're basically going from high to low to high, lower high to lower low to lower high to lower low to higher high. So if you were to just ignore that first candle, that launch candle, that might be a good strategy, a good smart thing to do. Just ignore the launch candle and just focus from the first high that's been put in. And so based on that, David is absolutely correct. We just need to get back above this pivot here, and that would change this whole downtrend to an uptrend. You know, that would be a higher high. I think if we were to, honestly, if we're going up to 5.3 or 4 or 5, this is bullish AF, because that's taking us past the point of control, which is our big resistance level at 41, 41.5, 41.5. Okay, so yeah, of course, if we can get up there, then this is like all in. All in. I'm already all in. No, I'm not. All right, that's Slerf. Any questions? I'm gonna quickly